Okay, as you just saw in your last video, we are working with mid-segments and the mid-segment triangle. But to be able to use mid-segments and all the properties that we know about them, we need to first go over a couple of formulas that we've used before. First one, if we're dealing with mid-segments, means we're dealing with midpoint. So we need to use midpoint formulas when we're dealing with a coordinate plane. In that coordinate plane, if we have a point x1, y1, and another point x2, y2, we can find the midpoint between those 2 points on the segment. And we call that the midpoint M. And we can find it just by using this equation right here to find an ordered pair. We add up the x values of the two ordered pairs, and we divide it by 2. And that is the x coordinate of the midpoint. Then we take the y values of the ordered pairs, add those up, divide by 2. And that will get you the midpoint of the y coordinate of the midpoint. That way now, you now have a coordinate, an ordered pair in your coordinate system, and this will be the exact point in the middle between the 2 points that we want to find. So when you have the two points at the end of a triangle, we can find the midpoint of it by using this formula. The other one we used a lot recently especially is the distance formula. Again, just to remind you, if we have 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, we can find the distance by simply subtracting the x's and squaring it. Instead of adding it this time, we're subtracting. Subtract the x's and square it. Subtract the y's, square it. We add those two results together and we take the square root. And that's how we get the distance between the 2 points. So if we were to look just at a quick example, if we were to look at, say, this point right here, which is 2, 2, and if we look at this point, which is 4, 3. To find the midpoint, we want to use the midpoint formula coordinates. So we take the x values. The x value for this point is 2. The x value for this point is 4. We add them together and we get 6. And then we need to divide by 2. In the same way, if we take the y values, y value of this point is 3, of this point is 2. So that is 5. When you add them together, 5 divided by 2. Now you can simplify it, obviously, and that would mean that this midpoint between the 2 points is going to be 3, 2.5. And if we were to plot that on our ordered pair, on our coordinate plane, it should look like it's right in the middle. And it is, as you will see, plotted here in blue in the middle is going to be the midpoint of the segment that connects those 2 points. That blue point in the middle is the midpoint. Now, if you wanted to find the distance of that line right there, we would again use the same ordered pairs, 2, 2, and 3, 4, or 4, 3, I'm sorry, and we're going to now plug it into this formula. So we would do that the distance equals, we need everything under the square root. If we take the x values, subtract them. So we have a 4 here, and we have a 2 here. 4 minus 2 is 2, and we want to square it. As for the y values, we have a y value of 3 and 2. 3 minus 2 is 1, and square it. When we simplify our answer, that just becomes that the distance between those 2 points is the square root of 5. And that's all we need to know about using the midpoint formula and the distance formula. We'll be using this a lot here when we work on these triangles, which you will see when you come into class on Monday. So that's it for your homework for the weekend. Make sure that you work on the quiz and submit that before coming into class on Monday. Other than that, I hope you have a very good weekend.